Hey, Pixie Willow, Spider Monkey here. You can call me Aaron. This is my entry into your Halloween contest giveaway. Um, I'm a subscriber now, which, speaking of which, next time you talk to you have subscriber Joe Manganero, I'm pretty sure, I hope that's how that's pronounced. I found your channel through him. He became one of my subscribers, and then when I was checking out his channel, I found this video and found out about the contest. So next time you talk to him, give him a pat on the back because he's bringing you new subscribers. Well, anyway, subscribed, like the video, and now I am going to answer your two questions. Question number one, my favorite costume growing up was, to be perfectly honest, it was Michael Jackson. I was a huge Michael Jackson fan, which this was through the 80s, early 90s. Uh, and it's, I pieced everything together, which, I didn't have a lot of money. But, it was basically just the little bit of allowance I got, and then the money I would save up from mowing lawns and shoveling driveways in the winter in the neighborhood. I would take to thrift stores, yard sales. If I would see something that would catch my eye, I'd grab it. Like, oh, that would be perfect. And I kind of assembled the costumes together on my own. They were a big hit, which I was about 100 pounds lighter then, so I was very thin, so it kind of makes. So my favorite costume I was Michael Jackson for Halloween as a kid. How scary is that? So anyway, that answers that question. I wish I had a photo to show you, but those are with my parents. They live 2 states away. So sorry, but I like for you to be able to check it out, but I don't have it. Your second question is the best experience that I had on Halloween growing up. Technically, I wasn't a child. I was over 18. I graduated high school, but I was in my early 20s. I'm in my 40s now, and honestly, looking back, pretty much everything up to my late 20s still feels like when I was a kid, when I was young, still thought and acted as a child. But anyway, that's what I'm going to go with because this was awesome. But I was actually at the time I was early 20s, probably 20, 22, 23. I was working at a haunted field in the area where I lived. The Little League Commission every year used the ball field, and they would do a haunted field just to raise money for the Little League, to buy the uniforms and baseball bats and that kind of stuff. They had all kinds of materials there, and of course they had, a concession stand and all this stuff, and it was all volunteer work. You just kind of showed up and said, "Hey, I want to help," and they're like, "Okay, what do you want to do?" And I'm like, "I want to scare people." They're like, "Okay." They're like, build your set, get to work. Me and a couple other buddies, they had a lot, like some old lumber, some old pieces of carpet, some tarp and stuff, and hammer and nails. You could build your own set, pretty much do whatever you wanted to do, within reason. It had to be, they wanted you to keep it family friendly and, safe. But so, 2-3 years there, I worked out at that hospital. Well, okay, that's not the story. I'm rambling on. One night, which this wasn't Halloween night, but technically it's, it was in October. It was for Halloween. It was on weekend. Working there with my buddies. We ended up making friends with some other people that were working sets and kind of working there at the haunted field. And I think there was about 8 of us total when it all came down. A couple of the people that we had met there were talking about a haunted church that was across the river. This is in southern Ohio, and across the river over the bridge into Kentucky. Up on this hill is an old haunted church. Hasn't been used in years. In fact, I said that the area is so neglected that you can't even drive a vehicle up to the church. You have to drive to a certain point, and then you got to get out and walk. And mind you, this is I don't know, because everything was shutting down. We were pretty much getting ready to leave. We packed up everything. We're getting in our cars, getting ready to take off, and that's when this whole conversation started. Just in the camaraderie of like saying bye and everything, and get to talking about it. And we're like, yeah, like let's run check that out. So like I said, we end up piling in a couple cars and taking off. So it was probably after midnight by the time we got to, and they were absolutely right. Which part of the thrill of this was the guys that talked us into this, I mean, we knew through the haunted field, but we didn't know them real well. So we don't know if these guys really even know what they're talking about. But we're like, we're all in. So that's part of the thrill of not knowing really what we're getting into and what's going on. So anyway, we drive, and sure enough, you drive on some roads, you end up on back roads. Next thing you know, you're on a dirt road, just in the middle of the woods, middle of the night. And sure enough, you come to a point, and that road just ended, and it was just trees and where brush had grown over. Of course, it's October. All the vegetation is dead. Leaves everywhere. It's one of those nights. I don't think it was a full moon, but there was a lot of ambient moonlight. Cast lots of shadows. And of course, then we all pile out of our vehicles. There's this little narrow dirt road just surrounded by woods everywhere, and of course the woods make noise. Call it the wind, call it what you want. Like there's just constantly cracks and pop. Like I'm sure just branches falling, or whatever. The forces of darkness, whatever it is, does that. But of course, then we've just come from working on a field and talking about it. So of course, our mindsets are, and that's part of the great thing of horror. It turns your imagination against you. It's terrifying. Anyway, moving on. Trying to get to the road ends, and we get out, and there's, like I said, I think there was 8 of us total with my friends and these guys, and then a couple girls that we knew, just going on up and start walking. And honestly, I don't think it was that far. It seemed like a long walk, but of course it's kind of an incline, and it's just uneven ground. And like I said, there's no path. We're just walking through the woods, 8 of us or so, guy in front with a flashlight. That's how we're finding this. And of course, now when things are getting really, we're all laughing and joking, like trying to hide. I'm sure we were all feeling the same thing. Like, this is I don't want to do this. Let's turn around and go back. Well, we did it. We got up there, and sure enough, making a very long story a little bit shorter, get up there, and sure enough, it's an old time church, like just a small single room building. It's just a tiny building. You could look through the windows. Now the front doors, big double doors with the big handlebars, had a chain wrapped around it. It was padlocked. So people had probably been up there, I don't know, vandalizing the place, or they probably just closed it off to keep people out, I'm sure. But and the immediate area directly around the church for the most part was pretty clear. There was no trees like right there in that immediate area, but like those old churches did, and a lot of churches still do it now, have their cemetery right there on their church grounds. Well, these old weathered tombstones just kind of, and it wasn't like there was any kind of uniformity to it as far as like lined up. They were just kind of just kind of scattered. Probably 60, 70 total. I mean, just kind of from the back, from like halfway back to the church is where they started, and just kind of placed throughout, and then they went up into where like the trees and stuff started, to where trees had started to grow after the graves had already been placed. Like moonlight, let's say, and of course we get up there and start talking and start trying to mess with each other's minds and stuff. But anyway, so doing all that, if that's not creepy enough, and I'm sure I've convinced myself that this was just a tree branch that had fallen off of a dead tree and came smashing through, but all of a sudden we hear what in my mind at the time sounds like huge stomping footsteps coming through the woods. And it sounded to me like it was coming to us. It's just giant monster decides to come smashing through the woods. And it was kind of like there wasn't just like that moment of stupid shock where everyone just kind of like, and it's boom, not a word was said, and we all take off running. That's so the walk back was quite a bit shorter than the walk up, because we went, and it was a beeline, and of course we get to the cars and it's just chaos all of us trying to pile in to, trying to hurry and get into two vehicles, which cramped enough at the time that these weren't like big cars. So any more than three people in one of these vehicles was cramped. So it's just falling over top of each other, getting in the car, shut the doors. Well, of course, where we're at on this road where it ended, there's nowhere to turn around. I mean, you got trees all around, and on the side, on one side of it, this was kind of an incline. It was a drop. Well, not really a drop, just a sharp incline down. There was no way to turn around. So once we get in the vehicles, still kind of just adrenaline is going like crazy. We had to back up. Uh, it's, this seemed like it took forever, and it may have. I had to back up so far to where we got to a point where there was enough flat area free of trees on the road to where we could kind of, and that took forever. We're yelling at each other. The people driving have like 3 or 4 backseat drivers. And then it's, this car is trying to get this car to hurry up and back up, turn around, go, so that they can back up and turn around and go. It was, of course, get back to the haunted field so everybody can get in their own vehicles. And of course, we're all, cracking up, which, now we're safe. Now we're good, and, giving each other a hard time. You were scared. It's like, no, man, you ran and screamed harder than me, man. Just like, it was a great time. I loved it. It was a great time. Unfortunately, I haven't seen those friends I was with in years. That sucks, but it was a great memory. And that's what I'm going with. It was amazing. The most scared I've ever been in my life. But that's it. Okay. I'm running kind of long here, so I'm going to go ahead and end this right now. I just want to say I love your channel. I love your videos. This contest is awesome. The prizes that you're giving away are amazing. Nightmare on Elm Street is my favorite horror franchise. Of course, as a kid, especially, that crap scared me to death. So I hope I win. Like I said, if I didn't mention it earlier, Joe Manganero, I think is how you would pronounce his last name. Forgive me if I just butchered it. I found your channel through him. He became one of my subscribers. I went and checked out his channel. That's how I found you, this video, and the contest. And I wanted to enter because I want those prizes. So keep up the good work. I love your channel. And happy Halloween.